Okay. So, we are going to do this in 3 parts. 3 sections in this video. The first one will be the sky, then we'll do the water, and then we'll do a little beach. We're going to do an ocean. We're using 3 colors. Look at that in our palette. Orange, blue, and white. Technically, I guess you could say we're using 2 colors and white. So I'm going to start by mixing things right on the canvas. Like I said, we're going to do a sky, and I'm going to make it kind of a cloudy day. It can be fun and to paint clouds on the ocean, and it's often what you'll see if you go there. I'm going to start with white paint. I have a brush. I should have shown it to you, but like this. Doesn't have to be a very big brush. I like it to be flat, but it doesn't have to be, and I do a lot of back and forth. And I add just white at first. I'm going to go to around 1/3 or so of the canvas. Right about to here. I'm going to do my sky tour. Right about here. A lot of artists, whether they're painters or photographers, will work with something that's called the rule of thirds, where a picture is divided into like 3 sections. So like the top would be here, and then there'd be another section like here, like what we're going to do, rather than have everything split in the middle. Usually it's more like split in thirds. But anyways, it's another advanced topic. I'm going to keep bringing some white into this. Canvas is moving a little bit, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some blue, and I'm going to start mixing the blue in. And see, does that look pretty cool? And so right now you might be thinking, well, this doesn't look like it's going to be a very gray, stormy day. It's actually very pretty. And you know what? It really is. I almost might want to keep that. Let's see here. And we're going to keep adding a little bit more blue, mixing into the white, get this nice blend. So you could have a sky like this if you wanted to. You don't have to make it cloudy. It's really your world. You can do whatever you would like in here to make it your scene. But you see how I'm doing all these back and forths, and the natural blending of the brush with the colors are making it kind of look a bit like clouds. You see that? Like a bit of wispy clouds, but like nice day clouds, where you can still see a lot of blue in the sky, like back and forths. There's a big difference between going up and down, right, and back and forth. When you're doing a sky, it's really better to go back and forth, side to side like this. It makes it feel more realistic and like there is distance. So that could be a really nice little sky for our ocean, couldn't it? But what I do want to do is to cloud it up a little, make it a little bit grayer. You could stop here and work towards the bottom. What I'm going to do to make it grayer, and you're going to be like, what? This is so weird. I'm going to actually add some orange. How is that going to help? Well, watch this. The more I add the orange in with the blue and the white, the more I get a nice gray color. Do you see that? Let's add a little more white to bring it out. See? So now I'm starting to get kind of some stormy cloud grays. And I'm still going back and forth, but now I'm starting to do a few more kind of circular motions, right? Because clouds do that sometimes. Right? And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to add some more orange. And we're going to do this through pretty much the whole top of the canvas. So it's going to go from a nice blue sky day to a cloudy day, like it often does when you're at the ocean. And you see how I'm just doing all the mixing on the canvas. With acrylic paints, you can paint over paint a lot. It's called layering, and it's a way to add extra details, to add extra textures and colors, and also to have new ideas in your painting. So just add paint, and you can work right on the canvas. A little bit more. Using a lot of materials that you might use in a school or a classroom or even at home. Different than what a lot of painters use. You can do all kinds of stuff with any materials you have. So, a lot of artists will use different brushes. I'm also going to just use one brush in this painting and see if we can make it work. Can we do round things with a flat square brush? I think we can, see. So like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to add a little bit more orange in some of these areas, especially where I might want some extra shadow. Watch this. And then I'm going to take a little bit of blue and add that just a little bit there to each. And then I'll mix that in, maybe a little more orange actually. And then I'm going to get a nice darker color. Look at that, nice darker kind of a gray color. I can bring that into areas on the bottoms of the clouds, mostly because we have the light coming from the top. Do a little more in here, just a little bit of gray. It doesn't have to be even, right? Clouds aren't even. Clouds are always moving and changing shapes. They tend to be kind of puffy. So I want to mix in the orange though. So mix in the orange the best you can so it turns more gray. In a sky, you might use a lot of orange and stuff if you're doing like a sunset. But I want the orange to mostly be turned to gray in this picture. Now we'll come in with a little more white. And see, when I add the brighter white, the contrast, the light and shadow. So here's a way you can make some nice clouds. You can blend it in a little with the dark like that. Not all clouds are going to be quite the same. This one's going to be a little bit more distance. So it's not going to be as detailed, not as much light and shadow contrast. This one's going to have a little more white contrast. You know, just kind of blending things into the sky and make a nice kind of a picture that way. A little bit more white ones in here. Cloudy, stormy day at the sea. And we still have some blue sky trying to peep through. So I kind of like that in this. This is kind of a nice little piece. A lot of times, artists, after they'll paint the top part like this, they'll go back after it's all dry and add extra details to make it look even more realistic or even more textured. And I'm kind of filling in some of the areas to make it look kind of complete. Whoops. And let's see here. A little bit more white in here. Just a little bit. And maybe just a little bit more in here. And I'd say for our first layer of paint on this, we're almost done. One of the things you'll notice, especially at the ocean, is that the sky is usually a lot lighter at the bottom where it starts to connect to the water. So we're going to take a little of that extra white paint and lighten it up a little bit here. Something like that. And then kind of mix that in a little bit to the rest of it. Try to get it flat. Painting from one side like this, it can be tough to see if things are straight or not. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. I think that's a little bit better at least. All right. So I would say not too bad. Throw a little bit more. Ooh, I like that. Remember, clouds are kind of whimsical, right? They move around a lot, so they don't have to be exact shapes. They can be playful. So, oh, I like that. This is okay. So now we have a nice cloudy sky. We're going to take a little break. Keep working on it if you need some more time. Take all the time you need. And then we're going to go to the ocean part next.